Parties have an order for custody support and parenting time signed October 25th, 2022, which orders Mr. Beachy to contribute child support and medical support for one child in the amount of $159 per month. This is Mr. Beachy's first show cause hearing. Charges began December 2022. The current balance owed on the account is $927.50, of which $803.88 is owed in child support to Ms. Doobie. There are fees, and then there's $102.62 owed to the state for medical support. Mr. Beachy made one payment on the account in December 2022. He paid $210.
Thank you. So, Mr. Beachy, what's been going on?
I got out of jail back in I forget, November. I got out of jail. I went down to my sister's in Kentucky to work, try to get on my feet. I got on my feet, moved back up here, had a job lined up, that fell through. Then the job I did get, my boss ended up dying, so I just started a new job. That's pretty much I just haven't had the funds, trying to keep myself alive, trying to get on my feet after coming out of jail. I do spend a lot of the money I do make. I've been doing little side jobs here and there, like scrapping and stuff, trying to keep on my feet, keep my bills covered. I go see my daughter. I want to say like every other day, pretty much. Drive down to Music from Mansalona, which is like an hour and 10-minute drive. A lot of my money goes towards driving to see my daughter. That's why I really don't have the money to be paying child support right this minute.
Where are you working right now?
I just started a week ago working for Pleasant Valley Construction right there in Bel Air.
Are you working full time?
Yes.
Is that cash? It's not something where you could get an income withholding order, right?
They pay check there, but they
Okay.
held the first paycheck, so this week I should be getting a paycheck.
Okay, so that's good news. Anything you think you can pay in the next 14 days?
Next 14. I'm not sure. I know in the next 2 weeks. 2 weeks I should be able to pay something.
In what amount do you think?
Well, I got this first paycheck. I'm behind on insurance for my truck, so I owe them like $400. And then my phone bill and stuff. I'd say probably in the next 2 weeks I can pay like $150.
Okay. All right, Ms. Doobie, anything you'd like to add or say?
No, I do not.
Okay. So one thing, this is your first show cause hearing, so I understand you're trying to get back on your feet. The arrears, that amount isn't terrible, but it's a lot of non-payment, right? It's essentially no payment since December. So how can we try to get you back on track? Because if you can pay $150 in 2 weeks, your monthly bill is $159. If you can pay $159, that's your monthly charge. I just don't want to see your arrears get too out of hand,
Right.
So how can we get you back on track so you're paying regularly?
I don't know. Now since I started a good job and everything, I can pay it. It's just one thing I want to bring up, that we could all discuss about is the fact that, I do a lot of driving to see my daughter, I thought that could be figured in with everything, like, to see her every other day or every 3 days, that's a lot of fuel. I drive a pickup truck, it doesn't get the best fuel mileage, and drive down there, see her for the evening after work, for a couple hours, and then, drive back to work and stuff. That takes a lot of fuel,
Yeah, we don't really calculate fuel into child support, so I don't know. If there's any arrears that you are asking to have waived, you'd have to ask your co-parent about that, but that's not. I don't know about that. I'm just trying to get you on track. Your monthly bill for child support, it's only 159 a month. So it's already fairly low for comparatively. We got to get you back on track is what I'm saying. So I'll in 14 days, I'd like to see $159, and then I'll adjourn this out 60 days, but we got to get some steady payments coming in, because I don't want to see it by then, 2 more months, and then we're just adding more to the arrears. We got to have payment coming in. Okay.
8725
All right. Thank you,
DS.
sir.
Parties have a stipulated order for custody, support, and parenting time signed December 20th, 2021, which orders Mr. Dungey to contribute child support, medical support, and child care for 4 children in the amount of $919 per month, which is a slight reduction from a previous charge of $1,555 per month. There was prior enforcement in 2022 that show cause hearing was dismissed. The current balance owed on the account is $10,691, of which $6,622.08 is owed to Ms. Thomas in child care and child support. There are fees. Medical support to the state is owed is $1,171.92. And then there's child support arrearages owed to the state of $2,813. There's been regular payments on the account, but they've been short of the amount of current. In April, $450 was posted to the account, May, $720, and June so far, $706.
Okay, so we've had a substantial payment this month. Mr. Dungey, what's been going on?
Oh, I'd like to say thank you for giving me the time to explain myself and kind of just give you a rundown of what's happened in the last year. I'll try to make it short as possible. So I've had all 4 of them, all 4 of the children, 185 overnights total from May 1st till April of 2023. I've had Stevie and Bradley a total of 239 overnights from May 1st till April 2023. Since May of 2022, I started taking over, picking up the kids from school on Fridays in Gaylord and dropping them off Monday mornings in Gaylord to school. There was a couple instances where Tyler had fallen asleep at the wheel with the kids in the car when she refused to pick them up multiple times, which I've brought to the attention of Julie DeBay a couple times about that. And then the teacher, I had to sit down with the teachers, and they said that they were missing Mondays, 31 total, last in 2022, 21-22 school year. That was 31 total. And the kids weren't bringing their backpacks and stuff like that. So basically, I was trying to make it easier on them, and I love picking them up. They love me picking them up. They I get that extra time with them, which is the whole reason I, left my life in Oakland County and pressed reset up here, which has also been a difficult task when nobody knows me up here. And I built a clientele in Oakland County since I was 13 years old. So it was a big move, but it all went to the right way. I'm seeing my kids, way more. This is the whole point of me coming up here. I'm trying my best. I'm picking up the kids, taking them to school. Right now, I've got a total of 60 pickups, which I keep on my calendar. I have a total of 60 pickups for that year in drop-offs. I've put 9,032 miles on my vehicle just for pickups and drop-offs. It's not any mileage from my personal, and it does not include sports or Girl Scouts, which I do. I've got an average of 750 gallons of fuel at over $3,000 at approximately $3.69 a gallon is what I came out. I don't get food assistance, which I've tried. I'm about $250 to $300 a week in food with the kids. It's at the minimum. And it's about $40 in fuel just to go to Gaylord and back. And I'm doing that twice on a weekend with them, which is a lot. And this is not complaining. I absolutely no problem doing that whatsoever. It's just I need a little help. I was doing snow plowing. I did get a good account this winter, and I made a little over $11,000 from Chad's Landscaping, but that was from November till April. As you can divide that up, it's hard to live on. So I tried to do my taxes as well, which I should be getting, a decent amount back, around $5,800. and I wasn't able to submit them because Ms. Thomas put all 4 kids on the her taxes from 21 to 22. Not claiming all 4. There was claimed 2, but the other 2 Social Security numbers were on the form, and Bryson was listed as head of household. So that threw me a red flag, and I wasn't able to submit them. So I had to mail them by hand and take pictures of things, from Miss Thomas. She actually gave me pictures of her forms that I could send in to kind of hopefully get that figured out, and maybe I'll hear back here shortly. I did send those in April. That would help me big time to get caught up. That's pretty much where I'm at. I don't know much more I can say. There's a lot of things we can go about, but as far as the child support and the money, this is where I'm at, and this is what I've done. So,
Where are you working right now?
I own a diamond gloss reconditioning. I do mobile detailing on boats, but 90% of my business is marine detailing, and I did that in Oakland County for many years and had a very, very big clientele from 2020 until I moved. I built it up pretty big, and then we moved to be closer to the kids.
I mean, is that a self-employed position then?
Yes, it is. I'm sorry, I should have said that.
Because part of the problem, and I can appreciate, the rest of it. Some of it sounds like issues. I don't know if you have some pending custody motion or something like that, but that's not something that I can address today. We're just here for child support. So
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out, with a bill of $919 a month, basically, every single month, if you don't pay, that's just going to add to your arrears, right? That's why we're at 10,000. So we got to get this under control. You see what I mean?
Well, I definitely see the numbers wise. I'm spending, $1,200 in food a month just for the kids, which is, like I said, not a problem. And also, I'm hundreds of dollars a month in fuel. She's not picking me up. She refuses to pick the kids up multiple times last year, which I have proof of, and had issues. So I've had to take over to do that. I understand it's not in the order, and that's my choice to do that, but I'm just explaining where I'm struggling. I've given her what I've got. There's many times where I'd leave myself and I'd screenshot it and send it to her. I've got $8 in the bank or whatever. I'm giving her what I have, and I understand I don't have, half the bill. I don't know what she's got going on as far as bills. Her house gets paid for, that her dad bought, and it's the food assistance, which I have tried, and I can't get approved for that. So I don't know. I'm trying to get some breaks here as far as that goes, but and the rearage, it kind of got me too, because they, in the beginning, the rearage is almost for $7,000. We went to court in December, and they had me based on a job that I haven't had for a year prior. They based the number off an income that I hadn't even had. So that kind of threw me off if they were trying, for the $1,500 or whatever. I was self-employed. I just opened my business not even a year prior to that. So they were using a income off a previous tax statement, which was from almost 2 years prior. So
okay, but we still have you at 919. So how can we get this back under control?
I mean, I can definitely pay that now that I'm working again. Now that we're busy, I have no problem making multiple payments in a month, which I still have to do at the end of this month. But throughout the winter, it was hard to live on just a little over 11,000. And from November to April, as you could tell, I've had to sell a lot of my assets. I've had to sell a lot of things and make sacrifices, but it's what you have to do. And, we're building a pretty good name up here, and I've got that same account for next year for winter, and all we can do is grow. And like I said, we started over when we came up here in April. So.
Okay, Ms. Thomas, anything you want to add?
Oh, most definitely. None of what he's stating is true at all. My house is not paid for. I pay a monthly rent every month. I've never fallen asleep at the wheel with my children. There's not one single police report, anything of that. I don't know where that came from. The picking up and dropping off from school and daycare is his choice. I have multiple text messages asking him if that's what he wants to do, if that's what he's doing. So he's playing both sides. He's saying that he wants extra time with them, but then he's saying that paying for that and doing that is not letting him fulfill his responsibilities. He knew where we were living when he moved, which is still an hour away. He knew living and established. He has had this job, which clearly is not working, this self-employed job for years now, which wasn't working for us when we were together downstate. It wasn't making him money. So it's not mine or our children's fault that he can't make money with his self-employed job. So, and the payments aren't regular. He's not trying until court comes up. I get a couple $100 here and there, a whole month missed, and it's not important to him to fulfill his responsibilities of that part. Because like he's told you before, he thinks everything is paid for me. But because of the state thinking that I'm getting money from my job that I actually have, and the support from him, my food assistance is getting down, my rental support is down, and I'm covering everything by myself now, and also not getting the support from him.
All right. Well,
And
some of those
this-
issues are not something that, on both sides here, some of these issues aren't something that I can take care of today. We've got a valid court order in place. It says 9/19. We're not getting that payment, and the arrears are just getting out of hand. I mean, like I said, it's a big bill per month, sir, but at a certain point when, we get into tens of thousands of dollars in arrears, the prosecutor steps in and it could be felony charges, so we don't really want to get there. We got to get you paying the monthly amount. If that means, I don't know what to tell you as far as advice. I just have to have.
And he doesn't want to work with me for it. I've offered for us to sit down and try and figure out a 50-50 custody schedule so we can adjust the child support amount. I've been asking him to do that for over a year now, so we can adjust.
Is there any
not-
I can step in and say something really quick with the 50-50?
I don't think I need to hear from either of you anymore. If you, I keep saying that we're not here for custody issues, and the two of you continue to bring up custody issues. So if you're going to change custody, you got to file a motion with court or file stipulation. It's that simple. Either the court will decide it for you, or you all can work together to decide it. But the bottom line is, we're not getting the payment that we need. If you're working, sir, then I don't have any reason to. I don't have any reason to talk about jail. That doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, if you're working, we keep you at home and do it. But I don't know that we're going to get a payment coming in unless I make a contempt finding, which I'm going to do. That you have the ability to pay. It's not a manifest hardship. You're to pay what's ordered. I'll do, because it's a bigger amount per month, I'll do $30 towards arrears per month. But that's a 2-year payment plan. And if you don't pay as ordered, a bench warrant could be issued for your arrest, and you may have to serve up to 30 days in jail. I'll set bond at $1,200. In other words, sir, if you pay as ordered, you don't have any issues, but we can't come to court and deal with them like this. So if the two of you are working on custody issues, I'm just emphasizing this. If you're working on custody issues, you need to do that outside of front of the court show cause.
6162DS. Parties have an order for
Okay,
custody,
yeah,
support, and parenting time signed June 20th, 2012, which orders Mr. Lund to contribute child support and medical support for one child in the amount of $253 per month. There's been prior enforcement on the case. The balance currently owed is $8,356.90. Of which $8,067.90 is owed to Miss Towsley in child support and medical support. There are fees, and there's a cost as well. Payments on the account in the past year. There was a payment in January of this year. Mr. Lent paid a $500 bond.
A $500 bond being, he was arrested on a bench warrant through us.
Yes, Your Honor. He was on a prior payment plan and had a warrant issued in, looks like, I believe, 2021, that he posted a bond on, which hit the account early January of this year.
Thank you, Mr. Lentz. So what's been going on?
I have not been working. I haven't had a vehicle, and I don't currently have a license due to the fact I haven't been making any child support payments.
So how are we gonna get payments coming in?
I'm currently working on getting a job back. Hopefully within the next week, I should be back to work.
Okay, where are you looking?
I'm looking to work for Rick Sellison Painting out of Boyne City.
Is that gonna be full time?
Yes, it'll be full time, and I'm hoping that he'll be able to do a payment withholding or a income withholding for me,
Okay,
just
that
to
would be
send my
good.
payments right. Yeah.
Sure. How are you gonna get there?
As of right now, I'm hoping my uncle can be able to give me a ride like he stated he would, until I can figure out what I got to do or how much I have to pay before I can get my license back.
Okay, do we have that amount, Ms. Mullen?
His license was suspended in April of 2022. I think, a couple things could happen. Obviously, if payments start, resuming, we would certainly want to consider giving the license back, or certainly, Mr. Lent, you could file a motion, asking the court to rescind the suspension, and we would be entitled to a hearing.
Okay.
So,
So if you filed that motion, it's something the court can consider. Do you understand that?
Yes.
So it's unfortunately, it's not something I can go over today with you, but if you've got a job where you need a license, we got to figure that out, because we don't want that cycle to continue where you can't work because you don't have a license because you're not paying child support.
Yeah, sure.
So, here's what I'll do then. I'll adjourn this 30 days. If you're going to file that motion, it'll need to be filed by then, sir. Then it's possible we could notice it up within that time.
Okay.
And if you've got a job and you can assure the court that you're able to make steady payments, that's something the court's going to consider in terms of getting your license back. That's why I want to only. I want to adjourn. I had to adjourn it out far enough so that we can get notice and get everything in, give you time to file that motion if you choose to. But I don't want to go too far with non-payments, okay? Because I don't know that we're going to see the full amount by then. I maybe, but we got to get the license issue taken care of.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not saying, if you come to court and it's the same thing where I'm starting my job the next week or whatever you're saying today, I'm not saying it's an automatic lift on that suspension. We got to hear some good news from you. You know what that means?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Okay. So I'm hoping that in the next 30 days, you can keep this job, get any payments to come in, any steady payments that you can, at least, the monthly bill. And we can talk about the license suspension if and when you file something. But if we come back and you haven't filed anything, it's going to be the same discussion of, I can't do anything about it until you ask the court to change that. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
And you'll need something to show to the court that you should have your license, right?
Yes.
So keep that job.
Yes,
Understood?
Your Honor.
Okay. And if you can get an income withholding order, obviously that's the easiest way to pay, but I would speak with your employer about that. And I'm not saying that has to be set up in the 30 days, but a couple things to look for from my perspective will be whether or not you filed a motion with regard to your license suspension and whether or not you're actually working and ready to pay.
Correct.
Because part of the issue is I can't just do a payment plan because that hasn't worked in the past. So if we can get you on track paying with an income withholding order or something like that, we can avoid any other issues. But right now, there is a barrier, and that barrier is your license. So let's get things moving on your end on that.
Parties have a referee
Yes.
recommendation and order signed
see
October
you in
10th,
30 days.
2022, which orders Ms. Hart to contribute child support and medical support for 2 children in the amount of $439 per month. The current balance on the account owed is $1,798.36, of which $1,501.86 is owed in child support to Mr. Hooksma. Medical support owed to the state is $254.50, and then there are some fees. There's been prior enforcement on the case of recent payments on the account. We have in a less income withholding payment, October of 2022, $118.89 posted to the account. And then in March of this year, involuntary offset of $2,999 was applied to the case. And then in May of this year, an involuntary offset of $439 was applied to the case.
Okay, so we've had some pretty significant payments recently, Ms. Hart. And so your arrears compared to your monthly balance is looking pretty good at this point. What's been going on?
It's just been difficult. My 3-year-old got diagnosed with autism, severely autistic. We're in the process of trying to get SSI for her, which will help us out tremendously, and I'll be able to continuously make some sort of payment. So right now it's just my husband working because she is in ABA therapy for over 30 hours a week.
Sure, and that's an intense therapy.
Yes.
Here's what I'm gonna do. So in other words, you're not currently working, correct?
I'm not currently working. There's just no way with transporting her back and forth and having the therapies that there's much time for me to work. I mean, I could work 3rd shift, but I wouldn't get sleep, if that makes sense.
It does. So what I'm going to do, because we've had some significant payments recently. I mean, the 2,000 paid and the 439. I know those are involuntary, but they're payments. I'm going to find that right now enforcement, I believe, is a manifest hardship. That doesn't erase your arrears, ma'am, or it doesn't ultimately change your monthly bill, but I don't want to have you on the show cause docket like this.
Okay.
When there's obviously a lot going on in your household. So it eventually, I guess what I have to say is eventually we'll have to figure out how to get steady payments coming in. But for today, I'm going to dismiss the contempt. Just so you're
Okay.
aware that you might end up back here if
I know that I did talk to Social Security this 2 weeks ago. And they're still in the process of getting everything. I filed it already. They're in the process of reviewing it and that kind of stuff. And they said that I should know within 3 months whether or not we get approved.
okay, and that can be a long road. So what I would recommend, if you, I think it might help you if you provide those sort of documents to your caseworker so that you
Okay.
keep us updated on what's going on, why you're, if there's anything to mitigate the circumstances as to why you're technically violating the court order, the court needs to know that. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
So do you know who your caseworker is?
Not off the top of my head, I do not.
Ms. Schimpf.
Who? I'm sorry.
Jessica Schimpf is your caseworker?
Oh, yes. Yeah, now I remember.
Okay, so I would write that down and try to get you can provide these documents to the general friend of the court office. I understand that, but if you're wanting to, it could be more helpful if you're keeping in touch with your caseworker so that person knows that you're trying or we're trying to work on something.
Okay.
In lieu of having to come see me on show cause day.
Okay.
DM.
All right,
Parties
thank you,
have
ma'am.
a second
Thank
order
you.
modifying judgment of divorce signed October 13th, 2015, which orders Ms. Hyatt to contribute child support, health insurance premiums, and medical support for 1 child in the amount of $224 per month. There's been prior enforcement on the case. This is an adjournment from April 26th to today's date and time. Balance on the account currently owed is $3,446.77, of which $3,241.77 is owed to Mr. Shaplicki in child support and medical support, and then there are some fees and costs. Payments on the account in the past year. In October, Miss Hyatt paid current plus arrears. In November, $136.78 was paid. December, $136.78. And then in current plus arrearages were paid by Ms. Hyatt in January and February of this year. They also included a offset of $367. She paid, and then in March of this year, $853 applied to the case as an involuntary offset. And then she made a payment in March, which was the last, for $27.21.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Hyatt, so what's been going on?
I had spinal surgery done 15 months ago, and I've been having some complications. I ended up getting a job for 7 months at the bowling alley, but I ended up injuring myself, so I'm not able to work at the moment due to my spinal injury that I have.
Do you have, well, obviously, I'm sorry to hear that, but do you have any medical documents you can provide to your caseworker where we could verify?
I have.
It's not that we don't, so just so I could say, it's not that I don't believe you, but it's helpful to have some corroborating documents from a doctor or something so that we can put it in your file and not have you show up on show cause day.
Your Honor, I've done that twice already. I've had to send in medical from my doctor and my surgeon both.
Okay, do you know when you did that? Ms. Mullen can look for me here.
It was sometime last year.
Oh,
I'm not very.
But that would have been before this most recent injury, correct?
I've been dealing with this injury since the beginning of COVID for the last couple of years.
Understood. So here's what I'm saying. You had surgery, then you were able to work, and then you were injured. We don't have anything around the injury.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yes.
in other words, at some point, I understand you couldn't work and then you could, and now you can't. So I'm looking for some information that says that you cannot work currently.
Okay, I can get that for you.
And you have that information?
I don't, but I can talk to my doctor and get some of that, because we're still going through all the process. Like, I'm still going through it. I do more doctor's appointments, and it's been a very big hassle.
Sure. Any of that information that you have and can provide your caseworker could help, because if we had that information, I could make a finding that you can't pay. But I'd just like to see that information first. So what I'm going to do is just adjourn this out 60 days. So to give you an opportunity to provide that information. If we come back in 60 days and we haven't heard anything from you, there's not much I can say. Okay.
Of course.
All right. So, do you know who your caseworker is?
I know her by Julie Conway.
Dubé is her current last name, but yes, same case manager. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so if you can reach out to her, as I've said, you can, well, see on the other case, but you can provide this information to our general office if you want. But if you want to have a direct contact with your caseworker, someone who's, hands-on with your case, it may be best to get that information to her. Okay.
Okay.
So hoping to see that will be in the order that you provide your medical information. And like I said, it's really going to be more relevant to the current sort of re-injury or the newer. Okay. So 15 months ago, that part's not necessarily going to be something that we need for the hearing in 60 days.
Oh yeah, perfect.
This is an
I can get
adjourned
that for
manner
you.
from April
Thank you, ma'am.
26th to today's date and
Absolutely.
time. Parties have a 6-order modifying order for custody, support, and parenting time signed December 14th, 2017, which orders plaintiff Mr. Mihai to contribute child support and medical support for one child in the amount of $359 per month. Balance on the account currently owed is $3,915.26, of which $3,537.17 is owed to Miss Cook, now known as Ingersoll. There's $297.09 owed to the state in medical support, and then there are fees. We actually, payments on the account in the past year, there's only been 2, but it appears as recently as April of this year and June, lump sum payments came from an employer, $559.23 in April, $978.79 in June. There was no open withholding. I've spoken with the case manager about trying to confirm the current employment so we can get an accurate withholding, but it looks like Mr. Miha is employed, and maybe that will continue.
Okay, so Mr. Mejia, what's been going on? It sounds like we've got some payments and a substantial one this month.
I had gotten a job getting paid cash, and I got behind there. I wasn't paying it, and now I got me a job where it just comes out of my check. So I'm trying to catch up, and I'm trying to pay a little more extra to catch up.
Okay, and where are you employed, sir?
Monarch Carpet.
Is that where we have the income withholding order, Ms. Mullen?
Yes, it was reopened, and it also looks like it's affiliated with maybe the owner's name, and that's what we were trying to clarify, is whether it should be under Monarch. Same address, same FEIN number, but it is going to come back out or reopen under Monarch Carpet Services.
Okay, so we should have that in place then, correct?
Yes. Yep, it'll run overnight. I've confirmed it with the case manager.
Okay, so sir, that's all good. So we don't have to talk about jail or anything. I think for today's purposes, since we've got the income withholding order in place, I'm satisfied to adjourn this out 90 days, just so we can make sure the income withholding order hits and you're paying steadily. Just so you're aware, though, we do have kind of a large balance for the amount owed per month. Okay. So just make sure that if the income withholding order isn't generating payments to the state, you are still responsible to pay those monthly.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I'm hoping is the payments come in through the income withholding order will get you back on track, and then we don't have to have our hearing in 90 days. But if we're back here in kind of the same story where we're not really getting the payments, and the arrears just grows, we may have to have a different conversation. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. She had forgotten to take it out a few times, and I had a reminder. So.
Well, I appreciate that. And sure, and I appreciate that. And if you could continue to make sure that that's coming out, that'll help you, and then you don't have to show up for days like these.
Right.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.